Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. It's Monday afternoon, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, and if I'm sounding a little bit like I had a very late night with a large piece of industrial machinery, you can thank Olix, Gorton, and Swackle for that. They were up to retarded o'clock in the morning trying to teach me how to play this game, and I can honestly say I don't think it helped at all. But thank you for trying. No, so how lucky are we to have a community that's that giving of their time and effort and energy to help newbies like me learn how to stop failing. But the only secret is going to be practice, right? So at some point I will find some time to do that. I don't know when, but I know something. Now is not that time. Now is casty time, and to that end I've got some ladder action coming away this afternoon, chaps, on Crossfire Cannal. So hold on to your potatoes, because this one is going to be a good one, I think. I don't know why I'm talking in that voice. It's all good. Now immediately we start, of course, we're getting a pause, which is great, and it's almost like it's pausing the replay in real time. Get on with it. Oh my god, longest pause ever. Anyway, there we go, back to the game. We'll take a look at the players, and I think I bumped this up to like +3, because Crossfire Cannal takes an age to get going. Up here in the red corner, it's RA's Mad Mozart. This was like the most casted guy on my channel for like the last month or so, maybe 2 months or something like that. A bit of a dry spell recently, but it's purely because he sends in so many entertaining replays, so well done to him. Anyway, he's going his very customary Cybran there in the red corner, opening first land, second air, with the best part of 8 P-gens. Why not? And then down here his opponent, instead of Carnival of Lust, it's Carnival of Rust, going Aeon in the blue corner, opening first land, second air, with 7 P-gens on the initial build. I did have a look earlier, and he's actually linking FA's account, FA account's Twitch account as well. I had a look earlier to see who this guy might have gone by in terms of other names on FAF with the username utility, and I can honestly say it was only one other name listed. I think it was Joust, and that doesn't ring any bells to me either. But we can take a look at the ranking, and he's outstripping RA's Mad Mozart in ladder points by 20, so he's obviously no fool when it comes to the old Sopcomage. But anyway, initial stages of this one, all very standard. NG's expanding out to all corners. You never basically get, or very rarely get, any kind of super early harassment coming out from these guys. You have got a bomber on the way from Mad Mozart, but I'm in 3 minutes already down in this one. And lots of reclaim, of course, in the form of these horrendously hideous trees. You just know that if they bore any fruit and you were doing your Bear Grylls business on this map, you would be drinking fluids out of the ground before cracking open one of those bad boys. That looks like it's going to give you a bad case of indigestion. But anyway, that initial bomber now completed for Mozart, and on the way. We have got a transport out meanwhile for Carnival. I'm going to have to call him Rust, because Carnival of Rust is just too much of a mouthful to be saying every single time. And those NGs are going to get safe onto the ground. You can have an inti for Mozart homing in on that transport there, but in comes the bomber, and I might have spoken too soon when I was saying they were safe. Picks off one of the quarter ones, wisely not keeping them clumped up. However, Carnival Rust is going straight for an anti-air turret, and then he's going to split one of those off. Has managed to get an inti or two into the mix as well. Tries to micro that engineer out the way, is unsuccessful, but he does take care of the bomber, and he still has one engineer left to continue that brave work of trying to establish some air defense on that slice to his right. Engineer going on his lonesome on the ground, meanwhile, for Rust over here onto the other slice, going straight for a land factory, getting a presence on that island. Wise decision, very similar to what's going on up here for Mad Mozart. He's also queued up 3 land factories on the beach there, and Mozart not looking to head, I was just saying not looking to head towards transports, but no, far from it. Mozart getting involved in the transport game, getting a skyhook with 4 NGs on board, and instead of going for this slice, he's being aggressive, which I like to see, and going straight for this one over here. That's probably going to be discovered by this bomber that flies right past at possibly the worst time. Question is, are there any interceptors in the area? No, there aren't. Rust does have some inties on the field, but they're down here. And certainly not going to be able to stop that Skyhook from depositing that build capacity onto that slice. There they are, nice and safe for the moment. However, not building anything. Mozart surely will not leave them resting on their laurels for long. That second bomber could have potentially circled round to take out those NGs, but Mozart, quick off the ball with that one, brings in his own inties to dispatch them. Another bomber out over here for Rust. First thing on the menu down here was a radar, and now we've got 4 land factories queued up for Mozart. So both of these guys with a presence on this slice, and in the early game Mozart seemed to be having the better of initial economy. 29 to 25, sudden jump. Is that due to reclaim or is that accurate? 36-31, both guys climbing as we speak in real time, as you would expect. Tons of mexes still to be claimed on this one. Third land factory under construction on the peak of this slice for Rust, and sending out a few Auroras here. No fervors as yet. He's going to struggle. There are Mantis already on the ground, probably not going to be able to shoo Mozart out of here anytime soon with direct build units, unless he gets an exceedingly large number of factories together, and quite quickly. Of course, it's got other slices to worry about. This looks reasonably under control for now, but another Skyhook, and this time it's under fire for Mozart. Doesn't manage to drop off the engineers. That's nice observant play from Rust. Probably another 3 or 4 NGs on that one taken out of the game. That will slow Mozart's progression up slightly. However, that will not clean this up or allow Rust to bulldoze his way into this one. There are 3 land factories already. To be fair, it's possible that that Skyhook could have been bound for this slice down here, being, as we've seen already, Mozart being pretty aggressive. But Mozart still with only a presence on the 4 slices, and there's 4 slices with a presence as well for Rust. However, Rust does not have any kind of factories or build capacity on this one. Mozart is anchored here, here, and here now, so he is present with factories on those 3 slices, and of course his main one. We have got another transport, a chariot coming in for Rust. Once again going for the pinnacle. I must admit, I'd rather be building up here than down here by the edges of the ocean, but that is just me. Bomber coming in for Rust, doesn't get a chance to do anything with that. Too many inties circling overhead there for Mozart. More inties over here for Rust, and actually a couple of naval facilities online pumping out submarines. We've got 3 sylphs down there, and one already roaming the channels up north, looking for any potential naval factories that might be under construction for Mozart. So I see Rust getting engaged with the Navy game, the naval game in this early. He's going to be unsuccessful in hunting up that way. There is, of course, just 1 engineer, but we haven't got anything queued up as yet, I don't believe. Auroras versus Mantis, meanwhile, in the western slice. In danger of being quite the stalemate, this one. Having said that, 7 land factories in play there for Mozart compared to just the 3 for Rust. However, Rust is funneling NGs across to this slice as we speak. When I say 3, there is a 4th one down here on the beach, but that is quite a significant deficit in build capacity in favour there of Mozart. And it's nice work for CanivalOfRust on the naval side of things. Of course, Aeon going to struggle a little bit with the bombardment side of things, more so than, say, a UEF or a Seraphim player would. Cruisers, of course, missiles being able to reach better over the cliffs. Does swing in roundabouts, of course, because once TMD goes up, the direct fire units, destroyers and cruisers for Cybrin and Aeon, just that little bit better. at the amount of Mantis on the ground on this slice for Mozart, pushing his way towards the peak. We've got some static D in here, but it's all anti-air defense. No PDs in place. Rust starting to get motivated now to defend this slice. Going to queue up 3 more land factories. He's going to need it if he's going to hold on to this piece. And still no build capacity over here. He's kept any engineers from building anything up top. You see there's a bunch of wrecks. There's been some engagements, and there's also 4 Cybran wrecked mass extractors on the top there. So it's some nice denying work going on from Rust, who is trailing mass by about 10 units, 42 to 33. It's fluctuating all the time. We'll see how we're doing on reclaim. Coming up to 15,000 for Mozart and 14,000 a little bit over for Rust, so not a great deal in it. More land factories on the way. This is a taxing map on a 1v1. There are a lot of things to think about. Wave of bombers out for Mozart, harassing this Aurora spam that's coming out of the pinnacle of this northwestern slice up here. But now some thistles in the group, coupled with a static defense. Yeah, 1 seeker in the middle there. Enough to take down those bombers ultimately. But now we're seeing some renegades on the field for Mozart. He's made the transition to T2. Those gunships going to be invaluable now. And it's Horde of Inti versus Horde of Inti now. And I think Mozart's definitely got the numbers here. He brings in the renegades. Maybe that was a little bit early. Maybe he wanted to thin out Rust's Intis first and then bring them in. Either way, I think he's going to assert himself now in the air game and have decent air control. He lost a whole load of gunships in the process. This is a good map to have air control on. You can see nice placement of those sylphs just around the shorelines there of Mad Mozart's starting slice. Making sure there are no naval yards under construction. Slowly but surely, Medusa's picking off the fringe units and static structures. Static structures, good one, Gyle. Yeah. And up there with islands being close to the sea. And that is going to be the end of this little stronghold on the top. More build capacity coming across though, so Rust not looking to yield this just yet. It's going to be a tough ask though to battle his way back onto that slice just by using these engineers. He's going to have to come in surely with other units. We have got some Auroras coming across from the slice above it. Meanwhile, Inti's out from Rust, who seems to have recovered from that last engagement where his T1 Air Force got, to all intents and purposes, eradicated. He's bringing them straight up here to go after these renegades harassing the northwestern slice. However, that does open up the field further down potentially. The odd let's transport more. Yeah, more transports. Interesting. A couple of dragonflies queuing up here. So could we see some airdrops on the way onto the main island? Anything is possible. And still no build capacity coming across to this eastern slice from Rust. Lots of Auroras, however. He's happy to continue to just funnel T1 land at his opponent now. This is definitely an army move, Crosswater's army move coming up. Ferry icon initiated. Where's he ferrying them to is the question. He's coming up here to take on this one. Renegades still working their magic up here, however, facing overwhelming odds in the sky. Mozart not concerned about it. It's a distraction as far as he's concerned. He needs to protect these dragonflies. God, I can't speak today. As they make their drops, and it looks like every single one is going to get at least one load in. I think one or two dragonflies might have gotten shot down there, but well, maybe not. Heavily damaged. It's about the same kind of number, and that's a pretty significant amount of mantis that's just made landfall there from our Mozart on Rust's main island. What's he got to defend with? Well, not a lot at the moment, but build capacity hurriedly erecting T1 point defense. You can see eruptors going up there as we speak. There is a T2 PD up in the center, but of course the relief of the land not going to allow them to get a solution on those mantis as they work their magic around the fringes of this slice before thinking about putting on any pressure in the center. Another drop in and successful. Tons of Medusas this time. As they line up on the edge, going straight after the mexes at first. That's an awful lot of artillery. An awful lot of damage they can put out, especially as they're Medusas. Rust focusing for the moment on thinning out Mozart's inties, not worried about the transports. He probably needs to be a little bit more concerned about shutting down this channel. All he has to do is devote a couple of inties up here to shooting them down. Indeed, he does pull them out. As that first wave of mantis completes its circle around the top of the slice, it now comes in through the bottom exit. Starts working on units of build capacity and the line of T1 P-gens right here at the front. Still more units coming in. We've got maybe about 3 mexes taken out of commission and a bunch of power. And you can see what this is doing. Carnival of Rust, 51 to 85 in terms of mass. That line of inties coming across the map from Mozart. And now he's got a decent amount of renegades as well. Mozart looking very dangerous here. Coming up to the 23rd minute in this one. Very dangerous indeed. Hasn't managed to get control of this because he's pushing hard and fast. He wants to cripple Rust here and now. Still more Medusas and Mantis landing in. Renegades take a shortcut over the top. There's a few units of flak in there. Definitely wants to be splitting these up, going for the exposed mexes around the edge. One single Spectre out to the right, still trying to harass that slice for Rust, who's falling behind too badly considering the pressure he's under. Mass-wise, certainly seen an awful lot worse. Nice bombing runs coming over the top. You can see how successful those bombers have been. Lines of units that have been massacred there from Mozart. His attention's been elsewhere. He hasn't been able to move them out in time. Those T1 bombers, very effective indeed. Done just enough to stop Mozart in his tracks. But of course, while all that's going on, the units have been lifted across from this slice onto the main one. But Mozart hasn't made sure of this island, of this slice, and as a result there's another 6 land factories down here and still the original one on the beach. So 7 land factories, and that's the equivalent build capacity that Mozart's got on the island himself in terms of factories. And Renegades idling for the moment down here, using them to pick off these exposed mexes. But now we're getting some T2 flowing across to the eastern slice from the southeastern slice. The HQ present down here. In come the Renegades, going straight after the build capacity at first. But there's flak in here, and those gunships are not going to last too long. And I can't believe how badly this has turned. This was looking tough for Rust, but I think Mozart pushed a little bit too hard and fast, a little bit too early. If he'd have made sure of this slice and sent any excess that he thought he didn't need up here to conquer this one, he would be doing brilliantly on map control right now. But as it stands, That control looking at round about 50%. And just a small amount of development at the moment, keeping Mozart ahead of his opponent in the mass game. If this keeps up, he will surely fall behind, which is quite unreal when you think of the onslaught that Rust has just been under. Sometimes being too aggressive, you can shoot yourself in the foot. The next bites the dust there for Rust. And a whole bunch of build capacity getting caught as well on their peaceful little reclaim mission. Forward, my replicators, forward. But look at this, T3 air emerging on the field for Mozart. That's why we've probably been seeing the other units slacking off slightly, and he's gone straight for Strat bombers. Those Revenants incoming as we speak. What are we going to be looking at? Where are they going for? Rust's ACU is on an upgrade. They're going straight for the commander maybe. One shield gen in place. That took a big hit though, and one of the shields, or sorry, the power gens just outside it was destroyed. As soon as that shield collapses, another one is completed. Good thing too, CanivalOfRust losing about 400 hit points in that last attack. Mozart comes in with his inties to buy himself some time. It doesn't save the first 3 Revenants. Here comes another one, but Rust now looking pretty secure under 4 shields. Now working on a whole bunch of Seekers to try and ward off this assault from the air. Revenant coming on this time to the slice to the right. Lots of build capacity you can take out here. Going after the Mexes instead. That one going to survive the first pass with 250 HP. Swift Winds and Inties getting in behind. Will they get another bomb off? No, he won't, but will it land on top? Nearly. That would have been entertaining to watch, it has to be said. And look at this. Nice work on the eastern slice there from Rust. Still hasn't made a play for it with any factories, but he's torn it up for Mozart. That last factory on the beach about to go down, and now we've got some T2 Blazes and some T3 Harbs that have made landfall in Mozart's base and are going after all the build capacity that are producing those Revenants. Wants to slow down that production of that T3 air, and I don't blame him. That was a little bit hairy there for a moment. Harbingers are the primaries for the Strat bombers. But at least half the build capacity destroyed on that air factory. So I'd say Rust will be happy with that. Still the battle rages over on the western slice. No clear winners as yet. And a lot of slivers. I did miss the naval factories, sorry, that Mozart built and has now subsequently lost. He's got a lot of submarines in the water on the field, but nothing to bombard land with. And those sylphs have gone, and the 2 naval factories down here have gone as well. So there's been a whole little bit of naval combat that's been going on in this one, which I've missed, so apologies for that. Totally blaming it on Olex. You'll know what I mean. Just would not let me go to sleep last night. One would think I'm 30 years old and in charge of my own destiny, would you? 30? I wish. I'm 31. Mantis moving in, but thin on the ground. One factory already out of commission, leaving just 6 remaining on this slice for Mad Mozart. And a lot of Auroras still intact. Rust moving in now. Another factory is about to bite the dust. I think this is going to be a conquer and hold now for Rust. Good work. Reasserting himself in this territory. He's also got a presence up here as well. There was one land factory. I was just about to say it's about to go down when some Swift Winds turn up and eradicate that lone Renegade. pummeling that land factory. Now we're starting to see whalers. It's about to get interesting. T3 gunships on the field, supported by ASFs. Of Rust on an upgrade, and he's on T3 air as well. Not really producing any that I can see. He's actually working on torpedo bombers. Wants to get rid of the slivers that are harassing those units there, those engineers. Torpedo bombers flying overhead. And another little hard drop. Transport takes a couple of pot shots from some very out of fuel inties as it flies past. But the harbs make it onto ground. And factory was under construction, but it's not going to get completed. He was taking some pot shots at it on the way past. Just look how hardy those whalers are. Swiftwinds not able to chew through it in time before the horde of inties catch up to him. Harbinger doesn't make it close to those factories either, so I think this is going to be a hold for Mozart, but he really needs to get on here and develop it. Yes, he's ahead, but he's not ahead by much, and I say that. Colossal jump suddenly at Eco. Mozart is not ahead, repeat, not ahead at all. He's actually significantly behind. It's a stark contrast, you think, 15 minutes ago when Rust was under that pressure. Now Mozart engaging with more Auroras on the front of... Rust engaging Mozart's front island, main island, the front of his main line. Jesus Christ. I'm not starting again. It's not going to happen. But Aurora's not able to penetrate deeper into the island. They have managed to take down T2 mechs, which pushes Rust even further ahead on this one. But hastily reconstituted naval factory, albeit in a slightly different position, and now it's T2 as well. Cruisers already on the field. That could be interesting. 2 cruisers on the field. It's going to cut down Rust's mobility in the air. Air engagement brewing. And then Rust decides better of it. I don't blame him, but a large push on the ground onto the northwestern slice. Aurora's pouring in now to the top. No build capacity coming with them for the moment. It's an eradication mission, not a colonization mission. Interceptors getting throttled there by Mozart. ASFs have returned back to base for Rust, who looks like he's more concerned at consolidating his T3 air for the moment. Doesn't care too much about those out-of-date interceptors. As Aurora's having traversed the majority of the island, now closing in on this T2 naval HQ. There is, however, Salem waiting for them and a whole host of T1 bombers. Definitely doesn't want to lose any of his build capacity around this HQ. This is a nice little advantage he's got himself, at least for the moment. There is a naval factory under construction, or at least queued up down here for Rust. And those 3 T2 units, those 3 boats out for Mozart, not heading down that channel either. They are getting in between the main island and the western island for Rust. You can see how much trouble this map really does cause the direct fire units. Attack missiles, or rather cruise missiles, would be so very much easier. And those T1 bombers redirected from Mozart back over to the western island. They're going to go for the mass bombing wall sections instead. It's an interesting decision, not one I would have gone for. Clearly was concerned that there was still some kind of PD or anti-air or something in there. I wanted to take care of it first. Now he knows that's dealt with. The mass is next. What ASF's Rust has already on the island should be able to deal with those bombers nice and quickly. Yes, there are some ASFs coming in for Mozart, but the main body of them up here and out of the way. I said he didn't care about his inties. Rust has still got a ton of them on the field. And now we've got a couple of T2 naval units coming down this central canal for Mozart. Question is, does he know? Yes, he does. He is up on the scouting business, well aware of this naval factory's existence. That's why these two Salems have been dispatched. Just completes a Vesper in time to take that total to 3, coupled with the emergence of a couple of Solaces. Those Salems not going to stand any chance whatsoever, and they're not going to be able to chew through that factory in time either. That's good emergency defense there from Rust. Another naval factory emerging up here in this canal, but Mozart well aware of its existence, on his way to take it out of commission. Engineers sitting up front, going to go down with the ship. There they go. But the crucial aspect of this is the fact Rust has been able to establish and maintain some T2 naval operations in this one. Navy so critical on Crossfire Canal generally. Single solitary whaler making a royal nuisance of himself does get dispatched in a single pass from Rust's ASFs. And still torpedo, oh sorry, T1, not torpedo, T1 bombers out here for Mozart, making life very uncomfortable for Rust. 4, 5, 6, 7 mexes out of commission on this slice. Very irritating for him. But look at the difference in eco. Carnival of Rust on 222 mass per take, jumping up to 241. Mozart on just 121. And now fluctuating between that and 116. That is unreal. Let's take a look at Reclaim, how these guys have done 65,000 mass banked so far for Mozart. But a near 80k banked for Rust. A lot of that was deposited on this central island from the continual attacks that he's been under from Mozart. I think Reclaim needs to be nerfed a little bit. Makes attacking far too much of a danger. But a large air engagement brewing now between these two guys, and Rust is going to murder what's left of that T1 air wing. There they go. Got any more red planes coming in from behind and circling back there. Torpedo bombers going after those Vespers in the canal. It's going to cost them their lives dearly, but they shall all have high schools named after them. It's of course a small joke. Cyberans don't educate their children. Now we've got a couple of Salems and another Siren coming back down this central canal. And if Mozart can at least get something going on the Navy, if he can deny this down here and then get a critical mass of cruisers going up and down these canals, and that's really going to throttle Rust's ability to move in the air as well. But there's suddenly a whole bunch of T1 naval factories that have appeared, and now we're getting a whole bunch of Exoduses and Infinities, and the Exodus, while not matching up brilliantly compared to other cruisers because of its ability to be out-microed. This is the sort of map where it actually performs quite well in a 1v1 when your opponent you're facing off against doesn't have the time to devote himself to microing his ships when he's got so many other things going on, and that will allow your tankier, more dangerous exoduses to outlast the destroyers on your opponent's side. Torpedo bombers coming in over the top, going after that lead Salem, taking him down to around 1600 HP, and now we've got a Galaxy rolling out as well, so battleships making an emergence there from Mozart. Interesting decision. That's a lot of mass and energy right there. Forget how much that actually is. Battleships, 8,000 mass and 54,000 power. Compared to, say, 2,250 for a Salem and 15,000 power. I would argue he's about to need the destroyers more. But of course, wonderfully easy to say these things when you can see the whole map. ASF's dwindling slightly now for Mozart as we approach the 50-minute mark in this game. That's allowing Rust to get these restorers in play to harass these ships. This Galaxy suddenly looking very vulnerable indeed. Solace coming in over the top. Mozart is going to continually have to throw ASFs away if he wants to protect these ships from the air. Another Galaxy rolling out. Seems strange to me. I don't really know why he's choosing to go that route. I'm sure a pro will promptly tell me I'm talking garbage and he's doing what he should be doing in the comment section below. Another Alumna dropping a couple more hubs off onto the main island for Mozart. He's immediately going to lose that fringe T2 mechs. And indeed, in come the ASFs chasing down that T3 torpedo bomber. And yes, they're going to get it. Are they going to get out again? Already lost a couple of them. It's actually not the best air coverage from Rust. He's going to allow a bunch of them out, I think. Oh, he's going to pursue them straight into Mozart's base. Mozart having to create a safe haven now for his air units. He's busy working on Myrmidons. He's going to have to pull them back continuously. And hope that he can drag Rust's ASFs back over his main base. Galaxies do look cool. Albeit for me to give credit to Cyber technology, but they do look cool. I just like boats in general, to be honest. Seraphim boats are fugly, but just about every other boat is pure win. A Galaxy about to go the way of the Dodo. Mozart's ACU under the water up here. It's where he feels safest at the moment. Pretty concerned about the prospect of a Strat snipe and his ability to deal with it. Still more Myrmidons, the order of the day in the main base. A ton of build capacity around that T3 air factory. Another Harbinger over here, looking for stray engineers and mexes. 273 mass to 135. Rust is rolling now. This eco looking fierce. Rust electing to stay in the center of his main base, safely under shield coverage. Forward comes a Siren. He's not going to get too far. So Exodus able to take a few blaps at him. This is bad times indeed. Harbinger down here to just pop this build capacity as it streams in single file, headed towards this naval factory, which has actually ceased operations. It's no longer building anything. Mozart's giving up on the naval game. He knows he's lost it. In come those destroyers, the odd cruiser to finish that off. But a lot of exposed T3 power plants down here. Only saving grace for Mozart are the Myrmidons that he's building. This Restorer is taking a wide berth from those SAMs for the moment, going after the Mexes instead. That drops Mozart down below 100. He's about to lose another T3 mass point as well. There it goes. They move. That's the last unit of build capacity around that HQ going down. The Aurora's going to move inland, maybe look to pick off another Mex or two and just let the rest of those ships do their work. Mozart on an upgrade under the water down here. But really, this is looking like it's game for Rust. He's played solidly when you think how far behind he was. And I think it was around the 20-minute mark. So much stuff coming across, being airlifted with that ferry command. Now Aurora's roaming unchecked through the back of Rust's base. Sorry, not Rust's base, of Mozart's base. I'm so drunk. You're not drunk. It's fine. It's all good. And now we're getting some strats on the field. He'll be wanting to hit that power grid for unshielded ion reactors. The front of his opponent's base is too big a lure for Rust, surely. Wave of spy planes out to the right, and it's good awareness from Rust, who doesn't actually have, there we go, having a few power issues there. Disappearing and then coming back on. Spy plane's coming over the top, and he must be looking at a snipe, and look at the amount of PD that's shot up, and it's because CanivalOfRust has correctly determined that it's a Masercom. That's what Mozart was building. It was upgrading on his comm. You can see it gating in there, the teleport, and he's built a ton of eruptors in time. I've slowed it all down, so Rust has been on the ball. He scouted, he knew what was coming, and is now building Oblivion turrets as quickly as he can. Surely that's enough PD to keep Carnival safe. Got a split screen and just see how long is on that. It's any second now. He's about to gate in. All four of those reactors have gone. He gates in and goes straight after Carnival. I can't believe it. Carnival gets vaporized, but of course there's so much point defense. Mozart doesn't last more than a couple of seconds, and you know what? I'm almost annoyed. I'm almost annoyed because Rust did everything he could possibly do there to keep that out, and he couldn't stop the draw. And I still think, I've been saying this for 10 damn years, well, not that long because SOPCOM hasn't been going that long. We need the teleport inhibitor from Black Ops. Everything should be counterable from Black Ops needs to be in FAF, because if you scout that, you should be able to defend against it. And yes, he built a ton of PD, and it was enough to finish off Mad Mozart, but he still had the victory snatched out from under him. And let's face it, it's a pretty nuclear-style option. Nukes have a counter. Why shouldn't the Telemaser have a counter? It shouldn't be something that's cheap, but if you spot it in time and your eco's good enough, you should be able to stop them from teleporting on top of your comm. Anyway, that's my little rant over. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. More to come from me in the future. But in the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle, signing out.